Diablo IV is a challenge to review. While its predecessors have been fairly straightforward affairs, with a linear story and builds that are more dependent on gear drops and loot tables, Diablo IV has a veritable cornucopia of options that are even more plentiful than I could have imagined. Frankly, it has very little to do with the previous games beyond the lore and some story threads. As such, we'll be focusing almost exclusively on game systems, classes, where the game is at launch, where it's expected to go, and the true potential of Diablo IV. This is going to be one heck of a long review, but thankfully I brought with me 3 more adventurers. Stay a while and listen while the Gaming Trend team gives you the lowdown on Diablo IV. My team has had access to Diablo IV for a significant amount of time prior to launch. We've all participated in the various betas, as well as the server slam, and now we've had several weeks of unfettered access to the final build of the game. As such, we are fairly confident in our assessment of the title. While server wobbles could happen, the last 2 free-for-all events were frankly so smooth that it should be a case study for anyone launching a live services game in the future, truly a marvel in the modern gaming age. And yes, Diablo IV, at its very core, is a live services title. What's beautiful about it, however, is that somehow the team has managed to build a game that works solo, paired, as a team of 4, and even partnered up with a whole group to take out a world boss. It does mean that the game requires an always-on connection, so know that going in. There are advantages and disadvantages to this approach that we'll discuss as we go. Despite being an always-on game, Diablo IV has a complete and cohesive storyline with a beginning, middle, and end, not unlike a traditional offline title. As such, we'll be focused on the mechanics of the game more than the story threads. We don't spoil the story around here. That said, there is a little bit of setup you should know. The game kicks off 50 years after the events of Diablo III, Reaper of Souls. The war between the burning hells and high heavens, better known as the eternal conflict, has spilled over, slaughtering humans, demons, and angels alike. The people of Sanctuary have suffered, and mankind is at their lowest point. When all seems lost, Lilith, the daughter of hatred and mother of Sanctuary, returns to her creation, enthralling everyone in her wake. Unfortunately, this applies to you as well, having crossed her path in the opening moments of the game, leading you to chase her across the massive world of Sanctuary to stop her inevitable rise to power and the start of a brand new dark age that could consume mankind once and for all. If it's a concern, let me assure you, Diablo IV is not only dark, but downright cruelly so at times. Gothic, bloody, vicious, and brutal barely even covers it. Eldritch horrors abound, as do dead bodies, disembodied corpses, and far worse that I won't spoil for you, giving Diablo IV more of an aesthetic and color palette in common with dark Renaissance paintings than its predecessor.